You're watching Drake Queen Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Queen Gaming, and so if you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Broken Harbors. So y'all, before we jump into it, just wanted to let y'all know that our Patreon is now up for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel and get some awesome rewards, like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming Not Safe for Work videos. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alright. Well, mostly I know the U.S. I'm going to give it more. Yeah, more of a southern Devon. Well, I mostly know the U.S. I've lived there all my life. I don't have much to compare it to. It's not a homogeneous place either. It's one country, but almost as big as the whole of Europe. And when it comes to moving out, it was a combination of factors. The place itself wasn't such a bad place to live, though I thought it was boring. I'm used to living in a town. I didn't even like Toledo that much, and that was the closest city. I was afraid I'd hate Anslo, but it feels much cozier than I imagined. It is a nice place, that's for sure. You didn't think of moving within the U.S., though? I'm sure there are plenty of options there. It's, well, a bit hard to explain, but I felt like I had to. Living where I live felt stifling, and if I was to move, I wanted to move someplace far removed from that world. So it was a spontaneous decision, or something you've been wanting to do for a while already? Well, I can't say I wasn't considering this, but, Yes? Me and my partner, we broke up in June, and honestly our relationship was the last thing that kept me there. It really shook me to the core, and I felt that I have to start anew in a friendlier place. So that brought me here. Ah, I understand. I'm sorry it ended like that. At least I'm here right now. They both fell silent. Rune couldn't find the words that would seem right, and Devon again started to reflect on his whole life up to that point, which by that point was almost a hobby for him. Could he ever find a way out of it? Of everything that has happened, this whole weight was still bearing down on his heart. Thoughts circling, looping, traversing the same beaten paths, yearning to escape yet unable to do so. A shadow ran through his face, like an eagle cutting across the sky. He imagined himself standing up, leaving to the street and breaking into a run, the frantic kind that turns off the mind and silences the quivering thoughts. He grabbed the fork in his huge paw, almost too big for the utensil, observing how it reflects the light. Even with this deer as company, he felt profoundly alone. A howling moon at the melting sky. An alien observer in a foreign land. Who was the deer to him, even? Just a stranger, his own student, a mere passerby. Their lives touch for a moment and they drift away. Just ships at sea, drifting in all directions. Should we go? It's getting dark outside. I think it's time for us, yeah. Unless you want a dessert. I'm good, thank you. That was more than enough. They left onto the street, now much emptier, and a new view opened up before them. With the day coming to its end, the sky dressed itself in a golden and scarlet, dramatic as an Edvard Crunch painting, but beautiful like an impressionist masterpiece. In the setting sun, the scenery was spectacular, their timing just perfect. The water shimmered softly with a golden glow, caressed by the low-hanging star sending its sweet kiss goodbye. Sweet goodbye kiss. A chill wind blowed from the sea, penetrating through fur and licking at their skin like a vengeful ghost of the night, slowly creeping over the land, making the deer wish he'd taken a jacket with him. The lively atmosphere outside felt warming, and they moved closer together, feeling some new faint connection between them. No longer strangers. Maybe he's not so alone after all, the panther thought. Gazing at the moon, he wondered at what even brought him here. Boredom? Curiosity? Desperation? This was a pleasant evening, maybe the nicest he had since he had moved here. Certainly the least lonesome one. A spark of hope was kindled. Maybe there is a future for him here after all. So, I've had a blast today, thank you. You're a great guide. It's nothing, really. I've just shown you the places I myself like, and the weather was so good it would be a crime to stay at home. Second, y'all. No, really, I'm very thankful for today. I needed to get out and talk with someone. So, I guess I'll see you at your classes. I can walk you back. It's still early. I'm not in a hurry. Oh. He looked him in the eyes, but found no ill intentions there. Just a spark of this enthusiasm the deer embodied the whole day. Was I ever like him? The panther asked himself, but his memories were too vague, too unclear, too malleable. But he knew one thing. He enjoyed the time spent with the deer, and he didn't want it to end just yet. No pressure. If you prefer solitary walks, I will just go my way. Actually, I like having company. And so they continued together unhurriedly, leaving the city center behind them and entering the quieter residential parts. The sky had turned deep black, dotted with a handful of stars, as they arrived at the quarter where the panther lived. Before them stood rows of unassuming buildings, simple in form but tastefully finished with clinker bricks, each flat having their own enclosed balcony protruding in a regular rhythm. Between the blocks, a sprawling park spilled out, crisscrossed with paved paths and dotted with flowering bushes, lovely colorful accents in an otherwise subdued scenery. You live here? That's a nice place. And I thought I was lucky with my flat. Yeah, I rented a place for someone moving out to Greece for the rest of the year. I'm not sure how long I'll be able to stay here, though. But for now, I'm enjoying it while it lasts. The balcony is a blessing especially. It's packed with plants, the best place for reading books I've ever seen. Thank you for today again. And the walk here, it was great to have some company here. No problem at all, not at all. So, good night, and see you at the classes. Oh, Coach, actually, I thought that maybe we could meet again sometime soon if you'd like to. Maybe go to a tea room, or if you haven't been in one here yet, maybe a sauna? Oh. The deer wants to see him again. The thought both terrified and thrilled the panther. He wanted to meet again, of course. He wanted to have someone to go to town with, to drink a beer together, to talk, a kindred spirit this foreign town. But if he agreed, he'd accept Rune's his own student, someone 5 years younger than him, friendship. Was it the right thing to do? But who really is the judge of that? What's wrong with a student chatting with a professor? As long as it doesn't include any special treatment at the university, is there any reason why he shouldn't? And after the classes, aren't they just two adults trying to live decent lives? Saunas scare me. I don't think I'm ever trying one here. But the tea room, I think I'd like to. Sounds good. Great. How about we exchange numbers? You can text me when you have the time. Sure. They both save each other's contacts and say goodnight for the last time that evening, each going their own way. Devon's flat felt even emptier than usual. He poured himself some wine and grabbed a book, and from his balcony he watched Rune walk away, disappearing down the cobblestone alley into the night. Over the next month, the same bottle served the panther as a companion to the long evenings spent on the balcony. As outside the cozy space, the late summer was turning into autumn, staining the leaves auburn and yellow, then sweeping them off the trees and onto the grass below, accumulating beside the paths in heaps so colorful they seemed like a sight from another world. In October, a package arrived at the panther's doorstep, a brand new copy of the weary sounds of the celestial bodies of the lid, and in it, Devon found the perfect soundtrack to this liminal time, the changing of the seasons. Soft sounds of string quartets and sun-drenched synthesizers comforted the feline's mind, and the droning compositions provided him with sweet liquor of nostalgia, reminding him of his homeland with its vast fields and empty spaces, grain silos and red barns. Then November crept into the city, stuffing the strollers' paws into the pockets of their coats, chilling the wind and closing the doors of seaside bars. Days were getting shorter and darker, so soon a lamp became another regular companion for Devon's afternoon reading sessions. The panther himself grew more comfortable with the city, and with himself. In the shade of his flat, weaving his afternoons into the fabric of this place, he made a little corner for himself, a place he could call his own. It's like, no, water time. The tables filled with pictures, plants, and pottery. Kitchen counters got stocked with pans and mugs adorned with birds, and a vinyl collection further grew in the cabinet below the newly bought record player, mostly from regular escapades to flea markets. But still, these were his only confidence in his new home. The only laughter they'd heard was his own, and no other sounds filled the flat when the panther was cooking or tidying up or lounging. Only his own, and sometimes the music, often accompanied by the crackle of a worn-out vinyl. Until one day... Oh, that one was good, but wait until you see the one in Björk. I think I've had enough saunas for a while. Really, but that was just one visit. Yeah, and it was a lot. Too much? Well, maybe not too much, just much. You know, I think I even enjoyed it. Still, walking around with only a meager towel around my waist in a place full of strangers, kind of a weird feeling, you know. It's easier if you just drop the towel and stop caring. Oh, hell no. You'll build up the courage in no time, you'll see. And it's not like you have anything to be ashamed of, quite the contrary. I'd be proud if I were you. What? How? There was a shower area, remember? I wasn't staring or anything. I just caught a glance, purely by chance. I'm sorry. Well, it was a naked area. I can't blame you. I knew what I was signing up for. Anyway, I'm glad you went with me. It was much more fun with someone else. And I'm glad you invited me. It was fun to go someplace new. So, thanks for walking me here again. No problem. Actually, do you have any other plans for today? Oh, actually, do you have any other plans for today? Not really. Why? Can I come in for a while? Oh, yeah, I think. Just a word of caution, I wasn't expecting guests, so there's a bit of a mess. I hope you won't mind. Devon unlocked the building door and held them open for Rune, 1,000 thoughts crossing his mind. What might have Rune wanted? Are they even friends, really? Does Rune really like him, or is he just being polite, or meeting with him out of pity? The autumnal beauty of this corner of the city still bewildered him whenever he was coming back home or leaving, and he stared at all the reds and yellows with eyes wide open, as if to absorb as much of it as possible before entering after Rune and closing the door. Oh, you've got yourself a lovely flat. And I love the paintings. It feels very homely. The flat had only 2 rooms, the main living space with a kitchen and living room, and the bedroom, both with an access to the balcony. Thank you, it's quite nice living here. If that's what you call a mess, then I wonder what you'd say if you ever saw my place. I could tidy up a bit here. I haven't vacuumed in a while. And you have so many books. When do you have the time to read so much? After work, the job leaves a lot of free time. I don't have to prepare for classes or anything. Do you read too? Not much, mostly biographies. I like reading about successful people. Devon nods, more important matters coming to his head. Do you want anything to drink? Some tea, maybe? Oh, you know me well. What do you have there? Only black tea, actually, but at least it's a nice Lady Grey. Sounds good. Okay, give me a minute then, and sit wherever you like. The facade folds and the smile disappears from the deer's face. Standing alone in Devon's flat, he looked around, his eyes latching on any framed photos he could see. 2 photographs of fjords, a shot of a house surrounded by a golden field, a black and white photo of Reykjavik. No portraits. Maybe the house was his own. But other than that, nothing too personal that could give him any clues about Devon's life. Second, y'all. Water time. His flat. It really was nice and tidy. He really had it together. His resolve, moving out of home to a completely different country and learning a new language, and his composure, Rune admired all of it. He couldn't quite put it into words what feelings Devon had arisen in him. Admiration? Sympathy? Maybe something else, something the deer couldn't find the right word for. But can emotions be really encapsulated by simple words fit neatly into categories? Or like a painter's palette, the basic few colors all mix and twist, creating all shades and hues undefinable, fluid, blending into one another, combining into a whole. His feelings were like a painting, and, tracing the brush strokes, he couldn't decipher the meaning behind it. Bubbling up from the black depths, an idea, a complete thought sprung up. Devon was one thing, one person. There was so little he knew about him, but he felt solid, with a specific shape and properties. But the deer? The deer didn't know who he was. Who he is. He felt formless, fluid, a set of possibilities. Here you are. Do you add sugar? Here you are. Do you add sugar? Never. Ah, right. There are some teas that should be sweetened, like Moroccan green tea brewed with mint. It's very strong. Or Turkish rizke, hellishly strong, too. The next time we're in the tea house, I can show you a few. With their cups in their paws, they both sat down at the small dining table, between the kitchen and the living room. Sounds good. That's still this Tuesday, right? Yeah, though I didn't make a reservation yet. I'll give them a call tomorrow. They really are that busy? Often, yeah. If you want to grab a nice spot, you have to call in advance. It's crazy how quickly every nice place in the city fills. I'm not used to having to call places in advance. Have you seen the queues to Ilmezaluna? Now that's crazy. I swear people start queuing up there before the opening time every day. I think I know which place you're talking about, but I haven't been there yet. Oh, we should go someday. They have pasta worth dying for, or at least standing in a queue for an hour. Rune fidgeted in his chair nervously, trying his best to look composed. He glanced at the photos hanging on the wall again, looking for any details that could have gone unnoticed by him during the last scan. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!